Okay, so now we're going to review the three topics that we covered. The first topic was nested if functions. The second topic we'll review is the vlookup function. And we'll also take a look at the pivot tables that we used during the class. For the nested if functions, we had an if statement that was testing some case. And that statement could be either true or false. And if we're going to nest another if statement inside of the first if statement, we can put it either here or here. So I'm going to draw a second if statement right here. And this nested if statement can also have a value of true or false. So now we have one possible outcome here, a second possible outcome here, and a third possible outcome here to add complexity to your spreadsheet. With the vlookup function, this was a database type function that let you look up information from a reference table. So for example, if you have inventory and inside that structured data set you had an ID number followed by a description, you could look up item A, B, C, or D using the vlookup function. And if you looked it up by ID number, you can look up the corresponding description. And that function had 4 parameters. The first parameter was what you're looking for. So this would correspond to, let's say, product D. And the second parameter is the range of cells, which you could have named inventory. The third parameter indicates which column index you need from that table. So in this example, since we only have 2 columns, we're going to put in the column number index 2 because we want the description from the inventory structured data set. And the fourth parameter was whether or not you wanted an exact lookup or a range lookup. Since we want to match the exact ID number, we're going to use 0, which means we want an exact lookup. And those are your 4 parameters for the vlookup function. And finally, for pivot tables, the idea behind pivot tables was you started with raw data and you enter that into a process using a pivot table. And that raw data will be processed through the pivot table depending on which column fields you selected and depending on how you ordered those fields with your pivot table box area. And the resulting outcome, the output of that pivot table would be some sort of report, summary, or actionable user-friendly data set. So instead of having a large raw data set, you can output something that is more user-friendly, very easy to read, and something that you can actually take action with. So if you have something that's raw, it might have maybe 50 columns and maybe thousands of rows. You can group that using a pivot table to output some sort of report that's much easier to interpret and do something with.